Ladies and gentlemen, as planned, Dr. Weber is here with us today, Dr. Jerry Weber, and I just had a few questions for him, just based on the latest Chronicle issue and a few things that have happened over the last couple of weeks that are good news and fun, and something I'm sure Dr. Weber would want to talk a little bit about. At any rate, Dr. Weber, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good, just great, Dan.
And so the new Chronicle came out, and it had one. It just had one story that, me as a part-time student and an employee here, didn't really catch me off guard. The jungle, or what was known as the jungle, that's the main lobby, undergoes unexpected changes. I don't know if you wanted to comment on that or not.
Well, they might have to change the nickname for it from the jungle anymore to I'm not sure what.
The living room, perhaps?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Okay. Actually.
And then this mention here, the speech team reaches nationals. That's pretty exciting news.
Yep.
There's
a lot of good news in there. There's a nice article. Matt O'Connor had interviewed me, and I had an opportunity to talk a little bit about the college and how I see its future. So that all went pretty well.
Well, part of its future is your contract was extended.
Yeah, well, that's always good, I guess.
Good. The usual, some of the covering the games and films, and you attended the induction ceremony for what was that? That was Friday. I can't. What was the honors convocation?
Oh, you mean the honors convocation? Yeah.
How did that go? Was there anything exciting happening there?
No, that's fine. It's a wonderful event because you get to see faculty and students, and all the student supporters are there, and it's a way of honoring them for individual achievements of various types. It's great to see that, and I know a lot of the faculty tell personal stories about the student who gets the award, and it's just a good fun evening, and it reminds us why we're in education. So, yeah,
part of being in education too is at community colleges and colleges there are student governments everywhere.
Yep.
And we have a pretty strong student government here. I think it goes in ebbs and tides every so often, but this is pretty strong over the last couple of years, and this one I don't see much different, if maybe improving a little bit upon that legacy. According to Mr. Banowitz, who came up and shook my hand, he has found out that he got 60% of the votes when I logged in as a student to vote, and then checked again, and after 5 p.m. Friday, which I believe was the cutoff time, there was 676 total votes, which good. I believe tops is a couple, maybe 150 more than last year's election.
That's great. It's just great to see that kind of involvement. We need to translate it into political involvement in our local elections, certainly, too, and national elections. That's one of the things we hope is an outcome for education, is that at College Lake County is that involvement, and that's what we're really looking for. And of course, that's a big piece of student government. And I should mention, as another kind of high water mark of our student government, that Edgar Maldonado, who is the student trustee for our Board of Trustees, has now become the Illinois Community College Board student trustee. So the Illinois Community College Board, that's the governing body for all 48 community colleges, and they have meetings, about 6 or 8 meetings a year they hold, usually around Springfield, and they have a student representative. So ours is the one from all the 48, and I think that's the first time we've had that honor. So that's wonderful news.
There's a lot of firsts for College Lake County, and one I can see right in the doorway here, representing one group, Mr. Stephen Cartwright, who is the president of the College of Lake County chapter, SOB chapter, known as Men of Vision, MOV, and he's here to talk with Dr. Weber just for a brief moment, a few, or even longer, if you need to.
Well, Stephen, I'm glad you could stop by, and I understand, actually, I found out from a text when it happened that the Men of Vision chapter is was given the award of the #1 in the country out of 186 chapters. And then also Stephen Cartwright, the chapter president, I think you got some kind of a award or honor, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. At the 2011 conference, I received Undergraduate Student of the Year. So.
Well, that's great. That's
Yes,
a great honor. So a couple honors for CLC at that one event.
Yes,
well, whatever questions you have, Stephen, I'm ready to answer them, or if you want to talk about Metavision or whatever you'd like to do.
Okay, well, we actually do have our Metavision meeting going on right now, so I won't hold you up, but I'll just comment briefly on Metavision. You know, a lot of people now have an idea of what Metavision is about and our goal and our mission and such, but I think people don't necessarily see all that goes on behind the scenes, and as we kind of move on and try to create more exposure for ourselves, we definitely try to recognize the support that we've had throughout the college. We've had it, you know, directly from yourself, Dr. Weber, when you initially came to CLC before there was a SOB chapter, or a lot of people had an idea of what SOB was. We really appreciate the fact that you were, you know, the moment you came on campus, it seemed really interested in getting that chapter started and really pushing it to grow, because there was that, you know, every organization goes through growth pains, and we're still, you know, growing and learning.
Sure.
But we definitely appreciate the support that we receive from, it seems, you know, multiple facets from the college who have really, you know, come together to support us with whatever endeavors we've had. So basically, I guess I'll just say thank you, Dr. Weber, and thank you, everyone else.
And get back to your stuff. Well, I just want to say thank you to you and all the students at Metavision, and what the Metavision really is all about to me is getting students to be successful and getting other students to help each other be successful. And we see a lot of stories about the disappearing male or the achievement gaps now with male students, so it's just great to have a group that's dedicated to success. It raises up the scholarship of everyone, men and women, when we're all trying to move up. So it's great.
Sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Weber.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we'll play the musical microphones again here. Dr. Weber, would you like to talk briefly about
the jungle?
Well, if you just thought of something, I was thinking about actually the elections of the board of trustees
Sure.
elections.
Well, let me say one thing about the. I guess it's as we said. I don't know. It's was the jungle. Maybe it'll have to be the living room lounge, but. That's actually been 2 years in the making. When I came to the college, I received a lot of feedback about that area. It just didn't look like it made much sense to me, so we had a lot of student input into designing that area, and we had college groups. We actually have as part of our governance structure, we have a group that looks at the facilities and the environmental issues, and so this group was, of course, very concerned with the sound issues that might be related to changing that center. So I know the student development has set up some guidelines, and I know that the students and the student government has been a big proponent of kind of changing that space and making it more suitable for students. And you're just seeing the first piece of it. As we put aside a little bit of money in the budget each year, we're going to continue to fix that up over the year. I hope by next fall we'll have another big phase of it done where we'll kind of modernize, and it'll actually look like we're updating the railings and other features, but really
Sure.
what we'll be doing is that also puts in some sound protection features. So
yeah, as you go, it's sort of serendipitous in the design of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. And so that's sort of something that's alongside of, but really somewhat of a sidecar to the master plan, or is it really kind of?
Yeah, you know, it's really separate from the master plan, but it's the kind of things you do a master plan for.
Sure.
So if we had a master plan already in place, I'm sure it would have pointed to that anyway, because that's what you do. You interview everybody, find out what spaces need to be fixed, what we can do with them, kind of take a look at them. So it's part of all that, and we're still working on completing that master plan. We should have it done by the summer, and that'll really take a look at all 3 campuses, look at the space needs, and it'll come up with a bunch of recommendations for us going forward, so that we'll have room to grow.
Sure. Speaking of growing, you have 2 new members in the board of trustees. And Ms. Paul and Ms. Gashgarian, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. It's a good balance. Again, it keeps a good balance of different types of people, backgrounds, and
well,
whatnot
yeah, it's an
on the board?
interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting. It does change the board makeup just a little bit in terms of gender. You now have 4 women and 3 men. You have actually 3 attorneys now on the board because Jean Goshgarian is an attorney. Linda Paul is probably somewhat known actually for her children who play basketball, and her son who's a basketball player at the University of Illinois, but she is in her own right a very important community force, has been running basketball camps for kids in Gurnee, and she's a financial planner, and I think that's always good. One of the persons leaving our board who didn't run was actually a CEO of a bank, Tom Schwartz. So having Linda Paul come in to replace Tom, it's always good to have that kind of financial background. It's always good to have some legal background too, of course, because the Board of Trustees ends up dealing with finance and legal issues as much as anything else.
And the college has a law firm on retainer, and so sometimes it's good to have someone on the board that can maybe
understand legal
speak a little bit,
right? Yeah, sure.
I'm sure as you're on a board for it's the term of 7 years, I believe.
Well, they're 6-year terms.
6-year terms, okay.
They run every 6 years. So they this is kind of the off-year election. The next one will be in sync, closer in sync, I should say, to the major elections that are run in the county, the mayoral elections, etc.
Oh, I see. And speaking of elections, the student government elections again, and we had Blake Banovitz. Now he's not sworn in. He's president-elect, student government president-elect. And he's sworn in on the next interclub council meeting, which is coming up. And that's something that one of your duties as president. You're there present to swear the officers in.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be doing that. Yeah. That's right.
Well,
sure. I try to attend that. I try to come to the SGA meetings about once a semester and give them an update, and so I'll probably do both of those at the same time. So,
that should help your schedule out a little bit. Let's see. There was something. Yeah, I did just a couple of different things. One is now the young lady hasn't come up yet, but she happens to have a wheelchair, and she had some concerns, a few concerns around the campus at different parts that she's noticed. She's been here about 2 years now, and I'm just going to try to ask her a question.
Sure.
Was there's a concern of a couple of places where ramps might be necessary, and I think, and I don't remember where I read this, but I think there was some, and this again might be part of the master plan of staying on top of any type of remodeling where handicap access is required. Do you know of anything in particular that will be coming up shortly about?
We should be fully compliant with all accessibility issues. If we're not, students need to let us know. Now, there's sometimes a little bit of a difference between compliance with accessibility requirements and convenience.
And the convenience, I was just going to
say. There's sometimes, for example, we have an elevator that's not the newest elevator in the world, and it's in one location. Well, I shouldn't say there's 2 elevators. Actually, there's one in the T building and then one here in this building. But it's a far piece between them. So getting around can be a little bit difficulty in some spaces certainly, and with the traffic of students certainly. But if the student happens to make it, I'll talk about that with him or her. But the other issue to think about, Dan, is if you have any students, they can email you, and you can send it on to the Office of Disabilities, and Tom Crow,
yeah,
and he should look into that and try to see what those issues are.
Oh, he does. He constantly is. As a matter of fact, the website is much more accessible now too, with a thing called Browse Aloud that they added. This very exciting thing. He's going to come in and actually talk about it next week.
Oh, cool.
We'll try to get the visual in people's minds. So
great.
They can move along with us on the website. And the CLC website. Anecdotally, I've heard from different students and from myself as a student, sometimes getting to certain links or certain parts of the site seems a little bit a little bit awkward or kind of deep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure that it's constantly it's a work in progress, and it's always being
I'll tell you what's going on with it's. I when I came to the college, I looked at the website as anyone would, and I went to our public relations and marketing person and made the case that we probably need to do more online, and we probably need to have a better online presence. So we've actually are hiring, even in these hard times. We've moved positions around and some money, and we've hired a couple people to work on the web in addition to the staff we have. In fact, we created a whole web team. We took some people from the institutional technology services and some people from marketing, and we put them together as a web team. And so they're actually now sort of auditing the web. They've been doing that for a while. They've been gathering student data about the web. They've been looking at hits on different pages, and
so they're looking at design statistics.
They're looking at actually redesigning the whole website. As soon as we get we have to hire one more person for that team. When we get that, it's a web designer. If anyone, or I should say, it's the sort of web programmer person. So if anyone wants to look into that, it's a job out there.
It might be posted soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's been posted. It's in search now. So we get a person for that. They'll put together a plan, and we hope. We don't know how long it will take, but we plan to redo the website, because I think one of the problems with it is you click on certain things. It may take you 4 clicks to get to something that should be 2 clicks or 1, and so that's probably one of the biggest things. And then some things are very difficult to find. Other things are relatively easy. Students tell us the page of the website itself looks fairly cluttered to me. That's my impression, but that may not be the student's impression. But there are some issues as to what, and then of course everyone wants. I'm sure you'd love to have the radio.
Everyone wants to be the top click.
Right. Everyone wants to be the first click. So.
Well, see, that's the thing too. I think, especially with colleges, the website design needs to offer a way for it to be dynamic, because at certain parts of the year you have more people interested in certain types of things, and then as the semester goes on, their interest changes, and perhaps the part of the design can change in a flow like that. That's one idea, I guess. And then the other, of course, is content management. Different departments have different content that need to be updated. I would imagine that you could kind of have a hands-off approach, or at least a way for content to be trusted to be updated departmentally, and maybe a little bit down from there.
There's already a system. There already is a system for content management, but it needs all of that will get re-examined, reworked, and put together. We've also, we've started web marketing for the first time in the last year, so we have quite a bit. We've moved some of our print marketing to the web now. So if you browse the web and put CLC in there, you'll see that we pop up now if you do a Google search on the right with the ads, and you can click on it, and it will, there's even a number to call.
I have noticed that.
Yeah, so we're moving that presence up quite a bit, and we've plan to do a lot more with
even now, if you just type in the letters CLC,
yeah.
I'm not just getting Canadian Lottery Corporation and Christian Learning College. It's actually College Lake County is coming up on second or third one too.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. 4 more minutes left.
I think we've kind of covered everything we needed to cover today, so don't feel like we need to just chat a bit. I
couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, no, I can just move along and let you continue at the radio station. But if you have another final question or anything,
nothing that pops up that would have popped up had she been able to. I think she actually had a class starting in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
She might have been worried
well, that's
about
all right.
that.
We can do it next time.
Yeah.
Or you can tell that student to send me an email, just president, and that's true of all of you, president at CLCIllinois.
All right.
.edu. So just send me an email if you ever have a question, and we'll get back to you. And thanks again for the opportunity in fact, thanks for I just want to thank you for the whole year, the opportunities to speak on the radio here. It's been fun. And
I want to thank you for the opportunity of allowing me to continue in the endeavor.
Yeah, it's great. All righty.
We'll see when the banquet rolls around how short my speech is. If it's short, I'm still in, I think.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. And that was where did the music go? That was Dr. Jerry Weber, the College of Lake County president, fielding some questions that I had really just heard from other students, and not even much of my own concern other than from the standpoint of a student. Wanted to give that a little bit of an editorial bite there, and we had some students come in and ask questions, and that's always a good thing. This is probably the last of this semester in this series. I don't know that Dr. Weber will be doing one in the summer, and one of his secretaries will be calling us to see if he would like to continue the monthly series this fall. And as I said, if my speech is short for the Primetime Award at the banquet May 13th, I'm sure that can be arranged. So, all right, and now more music from CLC Radio. Here we go.